Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're jumping into something I think is super useful, how to build Python apps that don't just work for a moment, but actually remember stuff. We're going to use Python's built-in tools to give our desktop apps a permanent memory. Let's get right into it. You know the feeling, right? It's such a classic problem when you're starting out. You build this cool little program, you punch in some data, it's looking great, and then, poof, the second you close that window, everything you just did is completely gone. It's like the app has total amnesia. And this slide right here, this gets to the very heart of the problem. On the left, you've got that app with amnesia. It's basically just a temporary scratch pad. But on the right, you have an app with a real memory, one that's powered by a database. It saves your work, it remembers what you did last time, and it's absolutely essential for any project that needs to actually track information over time. So, how do we actually build one of these apps with a memory? Well, it turns out we're going to use a really powerful combination that comes standard with every Python installation. One tool is for the face of our app, the visual part you click on, and the other is for the memory, the part that actually stores all our data. So let's meet our power duo, Tkinter and SQL. Tkinter is Python's go-to library for creating all the windows, buttons, and text boxes, the graphical user interface, or GUI. And SQLite? Well, that's our database engine. Now here's the best part, and it's a big one. They are both included with Python right out of the box. That means no complicated setup, no extra downloads. You already have them. And this quote from Coder's Legacy just nails why this is so awesome for getting started. The fact that you don't have to install anything extra to get a powerful database up and running is a huge, huge advantage. It just works. We can get straight to building our app without messing around with installations. So besides just being built in, what makes SQLite so perfect for us? Well, for one, it's incredibly lightweight. You don't need some big, heavy server process running in the background. It's also zero config, which means your entire database is just a single file on your computer. Plus, it works perfectly on Windows, Mac, Linux, you name it. And it uses simple, standard SQL. It's really powerful, but it's also beautifully simple to use. Okay, so we've got our tools. But how does our Tkinter app, the face, actually talk to its SQLite memory? It all boils down to this really simple 3-step handshake process that you'll use over and over again. This simple 3-step pattern is really the key to everything. First, you connect to the database file. That's kind of like picking up the phone to make a call. Second, you create a cursor. You can think of this as your cursor for the database. It's the thing that lets you send commands and get results back. It's like getting the dial tone after you pick up the phone. And finally, you execute your command. That's you actually speaking your request. So connect, cursor, execute. That's the whole process, every single time. All right, theory is great, but let's make this real with a simple to-do list app. We're going to focus on the 3 most common things you'll ever do with a database: creating new tasks, reading the ones that are already there, and deleting them when you're done. This is all part of a concept called CRUD, which also includes updating, but we'll start with these 3 essentials. First up, C is for create. So when a user types a new to-do item and smacks that add button, we need to create a new record in our database. We do this with a simple SQL insert command. It basically tells the database, hey, take this new piece of text and add it to our tasks table. Next up, R is for read. The moment our app starts up, we want to show all the tasks the user has already saved, right? For that, we use the select command. Select star is pretty much our way of shouting, hey database, give me absolutely everything you've got in that tasks table, so we can then display it all in our apps list box. And finally, D is for delete. When the user clicks on a task and hits the delete button, we obviously need to remove it from the database for good. The delete from command does exactly that. But that where part, that part is critical. It specifies exactly which task to remove so we don't accidentally wipe out the entire list. So, following those basic steps will get you a perfectly functional app. But if you want to create something that feels more professional, you need to make it more flexible. And one of the biggest leaps you can make is changing how your app finds its database file. Just take a look at this comparison. The inflexible way on the left has a specific file path hard-coded right into the source. Now, that's fine for you while you're testing, but it's guaranteed to break on anyone else's computer. The flexible way, on the other hand, uses Tkinter's file dialog to let the user browse their computer and select their own database file. It is a tiny change in your code that makes a world of difference in usability. Okay, you've built your app, it's got a great interface, it remembers all the data, Now for what is honestly the most exciting part, packaging it all up so you can share it with anyone, even if they don't have Python installed on their machine. To do this, we use a fantastic tool called PyInstaller. What it does is it looks at your script, it finds all the little bits of code it depends on, and it bundles everything together into a single standalone executable file. Just like a standard .exe file in Windows. So how does this magic work? Well, once you've installed PyInstaller, you just run one simple command in your terminal. You type PyInstaller, you add the -1 file flag so everything gets bundled into one neat package, and you use the -windowed flag to hide that boring black console window in the background. Then you just give it the name of your script. It is genuinely that simple to turn your code into a real shareable application. So let's just quickly recap the main takeaways here. First, Tkinter and SQLite are Python's built-in power duo for making GUI apps that have a memory. Second, talking to that database always follows that simple connect, cursor, execute pattern. The core of what you'll be doing are those CRUD operations, creating, reading, and deleting data. Remember, letting users choose their own files is a huge step towards making your apps feel professional. And finally, PyInstaller is like a magic wand that turns your script into a shareable app for anyone. So there you have it. We've gone through the entire workflow, from a basic idea all the way to a shareable application. The power to create desktop apps that can store, retrieve, and manage data is literally built right into the Python you already have. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?